guys, welcome back.
Okay. So, this is 4.5. We've already done the graphing. You should know how to graph a tree function. If you don't, go back and look at the videos, right? So, we're going to be write the equation of the graph. So this is kind of like Jeopardy, right? Where they give you the answer and you write the question. Okay, so I'm going to give you the graph and you are going to write the equation. I am going to require that you write a sine equation and a cosine equation for every graph that's on there. Okay? So your worksheet will have 10 problems. So each equation will be worth 5 points. All right? So you'll write a sine and a cosine. Is there only one answer for every graph?
No.
Y'all, there's an infinite number of answers, okay? Don't be crazy, all right? Don't be crazy. But there are people that will write them different ways, and that's okay. But don't be like that one kid I taught. Okay? Not so much.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
You're looking at it.
Because you would be the one that would do that to me. All right. So I'm going to put this rule up there first. Okay? So I'm going to start and write it in pink because it's rather important. I want you to, normally I'm not real picky about this kind of stuff, but this time I am going to be picky about it. Okay? Because I don't want to, because what happens is that if I'm not picky, people go all over their paper and like do crazy things, and I have to find it. So I want you to show your work just like mine. Okay? I want you to show your work just like mine. So we're going to kind of make up a little formula card the same way we did with the graphing. We're going to do sine over here on the left and cosine over here on the right. Can I just write one equation and then write the word sine or cosine, right on top of each other? Because they're both the same equation, guys. Okay? So y is equal to a, and either it's a sine curve or a cosine curve. Y'all, if you write this, guess what?
You're wrong.
Yeah, that's right. You're wrong. Okay? I'm saying you have to pick one of these.
Either or.
Okay? You either pick a sine. It's either a sine, and then here was our b, and then our x minus c plus d. It's the same for the sine and the cosine. If you don't like that, you can write that same equation with sine here and with cosine here. Okay. You can't see the top.
There you go.
Is that better?
Perfect.
Now they can,
Oh, maybe you should tilt it just a little. That didn't give me much to work with.
quality.
Better?
Apparently, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, technical difficulties, sorry. All right,
Welcome back.
so, here we go. Look, guys, we're doing this equation right here. What's the very first thing that you come to that you have to find?
Amplitude.
Very good. So we need to find, now is the amplitude going to be different from the sine curve versus the cosine?
Yes. No.
People, it's the same curve, okay? And the amplitude is measured from where?
Just start.
What is the amplitude?
Shift. Middle.
The distance away from the middle, okay? Yes, if the x-axis is the middle, but it is from the middle. It's how high a curve goes up from the middle and how low a curve goes down from the middle. That is my amplitude, okay? So, anything that goes to both of them, I work it down the center. If it's exclusive to that curve, I'll go underneath his heading and work it there, okay? So amplitude is good for both of them. I'm going to go here and draw a line. All right, so A. So I need a formula to find A because we know that you don't go by looks, right? We know that you don't look at it and go, oh, I think the amplitude is blah. okay? That I make it where you couldn't tell what the amplitude was, okay? That it would be difficult for you to find it that way. So I need you to have a formula for the amplitude. I'm gonna make you make it up. So I'd be thinking about it. So, I'm gonna give you a minute to think about it. Think about the curve. Think about some that we've grabbed. Look at some of the examples in your notes. Okay, look at what the amplitude is. Look at the curve. See if you can figure out how to find the amplitude. Some of you might have written it in your definitions when you wrote what an amplitude was.
Vertical stretch or
No.
Oh wait, we have the formula.
Oh, we have the formula.
Look at us.
Okay? So, tell me what you think the formula is.
Absolute value of A.
oh, I have it.
No.
Oh.
Look, hey, people, look. If I knew what A was, would I be hunting for a formula to find?
Oh wait, no.
Okay? Alright, it's okay. First period said the same thing.
I wrote it down.
They were like, it is the amplitude. in the
Well, no,
curve.
I go over here and it
Vertical
says
stretching or
amplitude
stretching.
equals, and then that, and I was like, oh wait, that's the.
What is it then?
Talk about it as like formula.
Tyler.
Isn't the maximize min by 2?
Oh, I liked what he said. Did you hear? Think about what he said. He said the max minus the min. That's how far apart they are.
Yeah.
And then he did what to
Divide by
it?
2.
He divided by 2 because I have to come from the middle. Okay? Instead of using the words max and min, I'm going to use high and low. But it's the same thing. And if you like the word max and min, you're more than welcome to use it. They're your notes, people.
I think
What
I
your
like
brain thinks. So my brain goes high minus the low over 2. That is my amplitude. So now I can look at any curve. I know how high it goes. I know how low it goes. I'll subtract those two. That's the change in them. That's the difference in them. And I'll take half of it by dividing by 2. And that will be his amplitude.
Good
Okay.
thinking, Tyler.
So what's the next? We got A. Check. What's the next thing we come to?
Period.
B.
Okay, but we're not going to decide that. Well, we're going to do both of them. So the next thing I come to is B. Okay, I got to find B. Don't write anything down. Okay, so now let me see if I can find. Someone stole my pencil. Okay, so do you have a formula that involves B?
Yes, 2 pi over B.
Equals what?
Pi, period.
Period. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to write that down. 2 pi over b is equal to the period. Now, what is the period of a curve?
2 pi over b.
No. Yeah, that's how you find the period. But what if you're looking at a curve
Where it starts. No, that's
Where
where
the
it
one
starts.
blue.
that it takes to do what?
Go back. Restart.
Yes. Okay, so however long it takes a curve to repeat itself.
Yeah.
That's the technical way we say it, okay? So the sine curve starts in the middle and goes up. So whenever it starts in the middle and goes up, however long it takes it to come back to the middle and start going up again, that would be its period. My question is this: can I look at a curve and tell what its period is?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
We can find that. That's not a big deal. Okay, so I'm going to know this, and I know 2 pi. I want you to solve for b. I want you to take this equation right here, and I want you to solve for b. That's like a literal equation is what that's called. Okay? Learn them in Algebra 2. They're section 1.4, I think, or something.
Wait.
Yeah, in Algebra 2.
Wait, what do we do?
I want you to solve for b right here. Solve for b. I want to get b all by itself and everything else on the other side.
Oh.
Why are y'all looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about?
No. Because I'm not smart.
Period over.
Okay, so some of you are y'all know know exactly what happens, and so you wrote the answer down.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you said, I better do that thing algebraically. So I'm gonna multiply both sides by b. Because y'all listen, you can never ever solve for a variable when it's in the denominator of a fraction. Sorry, shut the door. Take it way too loud. Okay, so over here on the left, what happens to these b's?
Cancel.
And you're left with 2 pi is equal to the period times b. Now what do I do to solve for b?
Divide by period.
Very good. So I'll divide by the period. So that's algebraically showing you what happened. Okay? Now some of you remembered, these cancel out, and so there's my b. Some of you remembered that what happens to these two things right here?
Switch.
They switch places every time. Okay? They switch places every time. That'll come back up again in our little learning circle. So anyway, so here we go. 2 pi. B is 2 pi divided by the period. We will look at our curve and find the period, and then I will divide 2 pi by that period, and that will tell me what b is. Okay, is everybody with me so far?
Oh, I put b equals 2 pi over period equals b.
Well, that's okay. It does. That's kind of a lot of equal signs. Whatever. All right, so here's my question. Okay, let's just use this guy for an example. I'm even going to cover this stuff up because I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to look at this guy. See this curve right here?
Yes.
Okay, so the sine curve, where does it start?
Middle.
And,
Goes up.
okay, so could I start this curve right here?
Yes.
Starts in the middle and goes up. Are you with me? Okay. Could I start the sine curve right here?
It's
No.
negative.
Goes-
Oh, I could, and I would have to put a negative on my amplitude. But it wouldn't be wrong, would it? Now, some kids are like, oh, I do not like to do that. And they will never do that. And I'm okay with that because I'll have more than one answer on my sheet of paper. So, unless you went crazy and make me really work, I'll grade your paper really hard. Then this could be the sine curve too. It could start here and go down if I put a negative on the amplitude. Okay, so what about so his horizontal shift for the sine curve would be left
Powerful.
pi over 4. Oops, sorry. Left pi over 4. Are you with me? Okay, or I could say left pi over 2 and put a negative on the amplitude. Are you with me? Okay, so let's talk about the cosine curve. Could this be the cosine curve too?
Yeah.
Yes, it could. Cosine normally starts where?
Top.
Top. Starts at the top and goes down. He's like a dip. All right. So I could say the cosine curve has a shift of left pi over 8, right? Or if you wanted to, you could start it down here and do what?
Negative.
Put a negative on the amplitude, and that would flip the guy. Instead of him starting at the top and going down, he's going to start at the bottom and
So it'd
going
be
up.
negative 3 pi over 8?
So, yeah, he could shift left 3 pi over 8. Now look, to make him shift left 3 pi over 8, what's C going to be? Plus 3 pi over 8, because remember that's going with that x, so he's going to do the opposite. Okay, so here's my point of the whole thing. Are the shifts for the sine curve and the cosine curve going to be different?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go back to our little notes over here, all right? And we're going to go over here and go C is the horizontal shift. Okay? C is the horizontal shift. Now where does sine start? Starts in the middle. Okay? Starts in the middle. Yeah, we just talked about cosine. All right, over here on cosine. Notice what I'm doing, guys. I'm putting them underneath them because they are going to be different. So over here on cosine, C is the horizontal shift. But cosine doesn't start in the middle. Where does he start?
Top.
Yeah, he starts at the top. Now, I just talked to you and showed you how it could start it at the bottom, all right, and put a negative on that amplitude, but you don't have to. You can move it as much as you wanted to. Okay? All right. Anything we lack? D, okay? So D is, oh, let me ask you, oh, I'm writing that in the middle. Is that where it belongs?
Oh.
Is the vertical shift gonna be the same for sine and cosine?
Yes.
Yeah, because the middle of the curve is the middle of the curve, right? So it doesn't, the middle doesn't change. So D is the vertical shift. Okay? D is the vertical shift.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna give you something to look at, so instead of just thinking something up in your head, okay, I've got to figure out what this number is right here. Okay, I'm not talking about on this graph, but I do have to find that number, do you understand? It's not gonna be hard to find the middle of the curve. But then you have to know where it is. And what if I make these crazy things?
Negative
You
150.
see what I'm saying? So you have to be able to find the vertical shift from this stuff that you know. Yeah. Some of you are one. Whoa, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure I know it, Miss Davis. It's -3.
Negative 150.
Okay? So, what if I don't? Here's what I'm saying, guys. If I make these crazy numbers over here, you might not be able to look at it and tell what it is. You see what I'm saying? So you have to have a mathematical way. You have to have a mathematical way if you know the amplitude, the period, the horizontal shift. What of those are going to help me find the vertical shift?
2 pi over B.
No. Nope.
Amplitude.
Amplitude. Tell me what you're going to do with the amplitude. Hey, go ahead, Sean. Tell him the rest of it too.
Wait.
You gotta set up for this one.
Amplitude what?
Divided by 3.
Max
No.
minus min divided by 2.
That is the amplitude. Amplitude is max minus min. Y'all want to see if it works? Watch this. Let's say this is -1. What's -1? Watch. What is -1 minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minus a -5? What is that going to be?
4.
And what is 4 divided by 2?
2.
So my amplitude, up 2 and down 2. Boom, that's pretty good.
I like
All right, so that's not bad. All right, so how am I going to find this spot right here, right in the middle?
The difference between, not the difference, but like.
Negative and positive.
You're right there on it.
You're
Do
too
what?
short.
You can leave a part there.
Okay, so, all right, be more specific.
You can divide by 3.
No, it has nothing to do with the period, because the period's how long this thing is. We're not talking about that.
Amplitude.
Divided by 6. Did Eddie get it right?
I want to know how to find this, how to find the middle of the curve. Because that's what this is.
You just
Do
hope it
what?
gives it to you.
Isn't that your new middle?
Do you divide the? Never mind.
Isn't that your new middle?
Is,
Wait.
Yeah, I don't know.
Amplitude is your A.
Amplitude is my A.
Would you?
No.
The range.
D is my
Minus min
vertical
divided by
shift. That's what I'm trying to figure out how to find. Nope.
Max.
Next minus min
Huh?
divided by 8.
divided by 2. 2a.
Max plus min?
Do what?
Max plus min divided by 2? Does that work?
Would you
No.
divide by amplitude? Would you take the range?
Hey guys, look. If I know this point right here, why? Oh, Sima said if you know this point right here, the max, and you take the amplitude off of it, where will you be? At the middle.
Oh my god.
What if you take the min? What would you do? Add
6
the
ways to say
amplitude, and you would be to the minute. Yes, it did. It took y'all 6 minutes to figure that out. All right, so here we go. So here's what it is, guys.
Add them and divide by 2.
It is the max or the high, whichever one you want to say. Y'all use the word max, so I'm going to write that. Max what?
that. Minus 8.
Minus the amplitude, A.
Whoa.
Or it's the min, which is the low, plus A, which is the amplitude.
Add it.
Plus it.
Minus.
All right, so everybody got Does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to you? If you take the maximum and you take the amplitude, y'all listen to the definition of the amplitude. How high a curve goes or how low a curve goes from the middle.
No way.
That's why I keep saying it like that, okay? I keep saying it like that because that's what it is. How high it goes from the middle. So if I take the high and take that amplitude off, I should be at the middle. Or how low it goes from the middle. If I take the low and I add the amplitude, I should be back to the middle. Okay? So,
And like 20 years from now, there's gonna be people watching this video, and they're gonna be in like the second grade because they're gonna be taking PreCal in the second grade
Yeah,
in
so
20 years,
it's kind of scary.
and they're gonna think we're idiots.
Yeah.
We kind of are.
Okay. Okay.
Anybody wants?
So here we go. Example 1. Now here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this one. I'm gonna start it off kind of easy, okay? And we're just gonna try and work it out, and then we're gonna do one more. I'm gonna make it a little bit more difficult, okay?
Don't make it way louder.
Okay.
Hmm?
I go, this is
That doesn't look fun. Oh, wait.
Ms. Davis, you know how to do all this, but how do you do a lipid test?
A lipid test? You
Yeah.
dip in paper. Dip paper.
How you doing? How you doing? You can play, huh?
Nah, because you know dividend. Okay, how you do a Benedict test?
I don't know that.
Ah.
didn't even
How you
know
cut
what
the
it is.
But I'm gonna tell you that good. That's pretty good considering I didn't take chemistry. I took physics. And
Man, you can do it like the cookies that they sell on Friday. It just shows up on the paper.
Physics is hard, dude. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Here we go. All right, now, guys, listen to me. We're gonna do this just like you eat an elephant. One piece at a time. One bite at a time.
You eat elephants?
I love the way elephants taste.
I've never eaten an elephant, but I would assume it might be
You don't
tough.
try?
Oh, really?
Sean, no.
I had octopus at his house the other day.
I'm not gonna feel
It was just a red.
Calamari.
No, it was octopus. It was like, I know, no, that's like calamari.
Yeah, calamari squid.
Okay.
But it was like straight octopus. It was weird.
Was it good?
Was it still alive?
Does the physical
so-
stick to you, bro?
Here we go. All right, guys, back on track. Here we go. What's the first thing we have to find?
Amplitude.
Amplitude. So you have 30 seconds. Find the amplitude.
I'm sure.
Go. Shh, don't talk. Don't talk. Now look, here's what I'm gonna say. You better follow the formulas because y'all listen to me. Here's what happens sometimes. Some kids are like, I didn't need a formula. Okay, if you can't do the formula when it's easy, will you be able to do it when it's difficult?
No.
No. You better follow the formula. Learn how to work the formula. Y'all got it? Okay, what's the high?
3.
Minus. What's the low?
Negative.
Minus a negative makes a plus 3 divided by 2. What's 3 plus 3? 6 over 2 is 3. So now, look at it. Okay, guys. That's enough. So now I want you to look at it. Don't make me record first period. You won't like it. You won't like the recording, okay?
This one.
The first period gonna be watching this.
So, that's okay. So, up 3, 1, 2, 3, and down 3, 1, 2, 3. So I think this is good. Bailey?
Okay, so why do you have to do all that, like, all of that formula just
Were
so-
you sleeping when I just said?
Yeah.
Listen.
I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so listen, this is what I'm telling you, and that's what I was talking to Travis, okay? Because Travis like looked at it and he goes, the amplitude's 3, like, what in the world? Here's why, because am I going to vertically shift that thing?
Yeah.
And then you won't be able to look at it and tell what the amplitude is, okay? High minus low divided by 2. All right, what's the next thing you gotta
Are you
find?
gonna lie to me like that?
Okay, so we gotta find B. Now, in order to find B, you agree? So that means I need to know some of these tick marks in here.
Yeah.
Okay? Now look, y'all, I made the tick marks easy. But can I make it extremely difficult?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Okay? I most certainly can. So we gotta see if you guys know how to do this. Alright? So first of all, I need to know, I'm gonna try to figure out what this tick mark is. Okay?
What Q is?
Tell me what to do. It kinda is like looking at Q. I'm not gonna always call it Q, because when I say Q, y'all think that part of the curve, right? What fourth of the curve, okay? But if I had put a number here, do you understand what I'm saying? If I had labeled this tick mark right here, that would not have been the same. Do you understand? Okay, so this right here, here's what I would say to do. I would say count up how many spaces there is between 0 and that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to divide this up into those 4 spaces, and that'll tell me what each space is. Okay? So I'm going to say pi over 4. Okay? And then I'm going to add it to 0. What's 0 plus pi over 4?
0.
Pi over 4. What's pi over 4 plus pi over 4? 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2. What's 2 pi over 4 plus pi over 4?
3 pi over 4.
3 pi over 4 plus pi over 4 is 4 pi over 4. That's 1 pi. That's how you check and see if you're right, okay? And then 4 pi over 4 plus 1 pi over 4 is 5 pi
Will
over
there
4.
always be 1 point given?
Yes, yes, I'd have to give one of them.
Thank you.
Okay? Now listen to me. Here's what you need to know. What is the distance between pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4?
Pi.
How do you do that?
Subtract.
Subtract.
Next one.
Okay? So the period, does everybody agree that that's the period? Is equal to, here's where it starts to repeat itself again. It comes back to the middle and it's fixing to go up. How long did it take it to repeat itself?
Pi.
From pi over 4 to 5 pi over 4. So I'm going to subtract them. 5 pi over 4 minus pi over 4 is 4 pi over 4 or pi. So what's the formula for B?
2 pi over B.
2 pi over the period. Okay, and what is the period?
Pi.
Pi.
These two.
What happens to these? They cancel out, and B is 2. So I got A and I got B. What?
Wait,
We
2
got
pi
this,
over
guys.
what? 2 pi over pi?
Okay, so now let's do our shifts. All right, we got to go to each side. Let's talk about the sine curve. A horizontal shift. When I tell you a shift, you have to tell me direction and number. Has everybody got it? Direction and number. So, could this be where the sine curve starts? Could this be where the sine curve starts?
Yes.
Could this be where the sine curve starts?
Yes. Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different answers, okay?
That's
I'm
what-
just gonna stay closest to 0 as I can. Some of you want mine flipping curves, and that's fine. You can slap a negative on the amplitude and flip the curve, okay? So I'm going to say right pi over 4 for the sine curve. Now, you find the horizontal shift for the cosine curve. Don't do it out loud, okay? You just find it. You have to know where the cosine curve starts. And remember how I made a big deal out of that.
Which one do we do?
You can do whichever one you want to do. I suggest if you do the one that's flipped, that you write the word flip beside it, like we did the other one, in a different color pen, okay? Or you automatically go down there and start the curve off and put that negative on there. Otherwise, you'll forget, okay? Because that's going to be the common mistake. Okay, so everybody got it? So you can either start your cosine curve up here at the top, which my shift would be right pi over 2, which is where most of the kids are going to start it. But some kids might go over here and go right pi. Why might they do that? Because people, that was given to me. I know it's right. Do you see what I'm saying? If I made a mistake on all of this, I know this is right. All right? But if I do that, then you're going to have to put a negative on that amplitude so it flips that curve. Colton.
So, but you would only flip it for the cosine. so you have to make like a note that,
No, you're gonna write two separate equations. We're not writing, do not do this.
yeah.
First of all, it will be wrong because the horizontal
No,
shift is different on each
I'm
one.
saying like, since
Yes.
you
If
flipped
I
it
wrote the
only
word
on the
flip,
cosine.
Yeah, if I wrote the word, if I did this guy right here, this right pi, then when I would write the word flip right here, and that would say, hey, go back and put that negative
So
in
like
the
on
amplitude.
sign, it would still be positive
That's
for
right.
sign, but then.
Don't
it'd be
go
negative
back up
for
here and
cosine.
write the word flip, because then you won't know who he goes with.
Yeah.
You see what, I see what you're saying. You're trying to help someone, okay? So, good job. All right, so now we need D, this is my C, guys, okay? So now we need D, that's my vertical shift, all right? What's the formula for the vertical shift?
Max minus amplitude,
Okay, what's your max?
3,
3 minus, what's the amplitude?
3.
What's 3 minus 3?
0.
So there is no vertical shift. If you wanted to do the min, which is -3, plus the amplitude of 3, -3 and +3 makes 0. So D is 0. You can write it or not. I don't really care. So let's go write the sine curve. All right? Are you with me? Y is equal to what?
3,
3 times the sine. What's B?
2,
2. Open the parentheses, people.
x,
X.
minus,
How do I go right pi over 4?
subtract.
Minus pi over 4. And then if you want to put +0, you can. You don't have to, whatever. Okay? Let's go over here and write the cosine curve. Now look, could I have also written this one like this?
Three, 5, over 4. Yeah.
Those are the same thing, guys. Those are the same thing. This one is shifted to right here, and he's that negative. So I put a negative on my amplitude. Okay? How many do you have to write?
1.
One of these. And then we're going to do one of these. I'm going to write it both ways. Okay? So you go write one, whichever one you like the best.
Just show us which one's the answers could be.
So if you didn't want to flip your curve, this was your answer. Okay? You just went to here. If you wanted to go right here, you would have to flip your curve and it would look like this. And you don't have to put the plus zeros, guys. I'm just doing it just so you know we thought about it. Is everybody okay? Anybody got a question?
Nope.
No questions? Okay. All right, so let's try this next guy. I'm going to make this one a little bit more difficult than what I made for the other kids. Okay?
So do you think it's harder than them? Is that
No,
what you're saying?
no, I am not.
Officially saying it on here.
Yeah, we have
I
you
did
on,
not say
we have
that.
you on video, Ms. Davis.
No.
What's that mean?
Here's part of the problem is that my notes were not in my book.
What's that?
It's okay to admit Ms. Davis. That's why she voted for you.
What?
Bro, who pulled up the white light?
It's not a tangent curve. Y'all, it's sine or cosine curve. That's all we're writing. Okay?
Yeah, but that one looks like it.
Boy,
doesn't
it
look
can
like
always
a sine
continue.
curve.
What's he fixing to do right here, guys?
Go
He's
down.
about to go down. Oh, yeah, he's about to go back up. That one's about to
Oh,
go
that
down.
one's going down.
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
Nah, I'm saying, I feel you. I got you.
I am.
Let's relax.
I don't have to give you the whole curve, guys. I don't have to give you the curve. How many sections does it take to make the curve?
2.
3, 4.
Thank you very much. That will be the 4 quadrants. Not the 2 quadrants of the coordinate plane, but the 4 quadrants of the coordinate plane. Okay, to make a full cycle. Yes.
If there's a vertical shift, are you gonna show us the little dotted line?
Nope.
Okay.
So does that mean there might be?
There might be.
There is.
Does that mean there could be?
I'm pretty sure.
There is
I'm pretty sure if this is
Yeah,
my high and this is
yeah.
my low,
I was
that
like, there
there's a
definitely
vertical
is.
shift that occurred there. Okay? All right, you want me to let y'all do it by yourself?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Sure.
Yes.
Y'all listen to me. If you don't know where to start, then just start doing stuff. The more stuff that you do, the more your brain starts to go, oh, okay, oh gosh, now I know. All right? What's the first thing you're supposed to find? And find it. You have a formula for it, people. A formula for it.
That means you should be able to do it every time.
That's exactly right. Oh, I just said a minute of deep breathing myself.
I'm staying in.
Okay, thank you.
Did you start it yet?
I know the vertical
Do you
Are y'all stuck?
No,
Good.
Yes.
What are you stuck on?
absolutely nothing. I got this.
B.
I know how to do everything except B.
Except B? Okay, so think about this, okay? Think about this. First of all, have you found these tick marks?
No, because I don't know how to do B.
I have.
Okay, so let's find the tick marks. Okay, well, let's just start. Let's just do A first, all right? Because I kind of like to do stuff in order. So A is the amplitude. The formula is high minus low over 2. You agree? What's the high? 4 minus, what's the low?
0.
0 over 2. So that's 4 over 2, so my amplitude's 2. Check, got that. Okay, so now we do need to find those tick marks. So from here to 0 is how many tick marks? I mean, how many spaces?
1, 2,
3. So I need to take that guy and divide him by what?
3.
3. So I'm going to say pi over 4 divided by 3. How do you divide by fractions? Flip the second and multiply. So times 1/3. So pi over 12. So this is 0. This is 1 pi over 12. Are you with me?
Where'd you get 1/3?
Because there's 3 spaces.
Okay.
1 space, 2 space, 3 spaces. If there had been 12 spaces, I would have divided by 12. If there had been 6 spaces, do you see what I'm saying? However many spaces between 0 and that thing, that's what you have to divide that by.
By 3.
Okay? So, then, this is starting at 0. Each one of them, each one of these ticks is 1/12. So 0 pi over 12, 1 pi over 12, what's this?
2 pi over
2 pi over 12, which is what?
Six.
Pi over 6. This is 3 pi over 12, which is what?
pi over 4.
Do you see what I'm saying, guys? Okay? Now, could I go ahead and see the next one? If this is 3 pi over 12, what's this? 4 pi over 12, which is pi over 3. Is that important to me?
Yes.
It could be, because it could give me my period, but let's say we don't know that. Is that the bell?
Yeah.
Is that our bell? Okay. We'll start here. Hey, will y'all stop that video, please?
Guys, tune in later.